There was an 80-year-old woman who was found dead on Lizard Island. I believe it was just outside of Australia or in Australia. 80 years old, dead on a deserted island after she did not reboard her cruise ship, which, by the way, just turned 80 and then booked this once-in-a-lifetime trip, $32,000.
It's expensive.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Really into hiking, and this is the 80-year-old and the excursions and that sort of thing. Dead on the island by herself after she failed to reboard the cruise ship. And we got to know, is it foul play? Is it that the maybe the cruise ship is going to face big fines or lawsuits because they didn't check to make sure that she was on the cruise ship before they left?
Do they typically check to make sure you're on?
Well, I don't know. We have our official attorney, Lisa Lanier, on the phone to help us unpack this because that's devastating. Good morning, Lisa.
Hey, good morning. There's so much to unpack here.
Yes.
It is like an onion. You sent me this story, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's a simple story, right? And then I went down this huge rabbit hole. I was almost late for work this morning.
Whoops.
I get up early. So I've been at this for hours. Like, this thing was fascinating. So this lady in her 80s, and she's super active. I put on my social media, I put some pictures of her. She looks like somebody's kind of like active grandma, like maybe she used to be a PE teacher or something. But her daughter said she's super active, but she took this was a small luxury cruise. I put a picture of the boat. It's not a huge boat. And they did a shore excursion that was one of theirs. It was a guided hike up this trail. It was a pretty treacherous trail, so she went with a group of other cruisers from her ship. She fell ill. It was a very hot day. She didn't feel well. And they let her go back down by herself, which is the first allegation of negligence that her family is saying. She's in her 80s, and it's really hot. It was unseasonably hot, and she left by herself. So, in these cruise ships, they absolutely have a duty to do a head count when they've been in port under maritime law and all the various jurisdictions, the Athens Convention. I mean, 6 ways to Sunday, they have to have a head count. But I think where they got mixed up is they don't use, like a lot of the big cruise lines use your room key to swipe on and off so they know exactly the manifest, right? And some of them even take it like a step further, very luxurious medallions that you wear and stuff that have a digital code in them. But these people, I think, actually relied on just counting people, and because it was a small ship. And so I think what happened was that the tour guide that took the folks out on the hike probably came back and said, well, I've got my 20 because one came back early and I've got my 19 with me here, check, not realizing she never made it back. Like, I think he counted her as making it back. Oh. And then what happened was they realized when she didn't show up for dinner at 6 o'clock that something was up, and they went to her room and they realized, and at first they thought she'd fallen overboard. And then they pieced it all together and they were like, wait, she didn't make it back. And so then helicopters went out looking for her. About 9 o'clock the next morning. They found her body 50 meters from the trail that she had been on.
Oh, my gosh.
Golly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's a lot. So, would it have made a difference, had they known that she didn't make it back? Was she suffering from something that was so acute and so catastrophic that she would have died anyway? That's a hurdle that the family is going to have to overcome. They can get an autopsy and see what happened to her. But, if something like if exposure, to that extreme heat was a factor, exposure to the elements, because she was out there all night, because her hike was the prior morning.
So she could have been alive. She could have been alive
when they left. Yeah.
And that's what we don't know. And, that's what, in order to prove like a wrongful death, for example, the family's going to have to hire medical experts and get an autopsy and prove that she was suffering from something that it would have made a difference had there been an intervention, had everybody done everything right. And that's a pretty big hurdle in a situation like this. We don't know, and maybe they can figure that out. But, clearly they should have, and I think they're going to, the cruise line is currently under investigation by the Australian Maritime Safety Authority, which says that they're going to figure out why they didn't do a head count. And they may be fined or something. This was in Australia, in the Great Barrier Reef, which is a super popular spot for these small cruise lines. And you may have, I don't know if you remember this is kind of way back, but probably the worst cruise ship disaster for an individual like this, where somebody was left behind, was in 2008 when two Americans were scuba diving and snorkeling. They were on a catamaran, and the catamaran, it was a cruise ship excursion, and the catamaran left and went back to the ship and left them, and they had to tread water for 20 hours, and they survived. But it was horrible. Sharks were after them. They were stung by jellyfish like a gabillion times.
That's like Open Water, the movie.
Wow.
Open water. They were in open water, the catamaran, like they were snorkeling or whatever, and they just saw the catamaran leaving.
Oh my gosh,
that would be awful. But Lisa, I see videos all the time of cruise ships. Like if you didn't make it back in time, I see the cruise ship taking off, and the people are like, "Oh no!" So I mean, some cruise ships do take off, don't they?
Oh, they all do. I mean, they're all allowed to. So here's kind of the rule of thumb: if you booked a shore excursion that was formally put on by the cruise ship, and that shore excursion with their employees, is running late, they will radio to the ship, and the ship will wait. But if you just were having a day in the town on your own, or you book a private excursion with an outside vendor and they're late, the ship will not wait. But they have a protocol. Number one, they know you didn't come back on the ship, right? Because they've got your little key card scan or whatever their method is for head counting. And what they do is they go to your stateroom, they retrieve your passports, they take them to the port authority, and they leave so that you can then still have your passport. And it's on you then to arrange transportation to get to the cruise ship at its next stop.
So they have to report that you didn't show back up. Okay.
But they're not going to send people to look for you.
They don't just take off. Yeah. They call these people, cruise employees call these people pier runners because the staff. Because the staff often stands on the balcony and watches them run toward the ship as it leaves.
I was on a cruise ship with our good friend Biggie that works here, and years ago, and they made the announcement every stop, like over like a bullhorn thing, like we're leaving in 5 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And when we left one place, and there's two people that were like running to get on, too late. They got to pay to get home or pay to get to the next stop.
Gosh.
I feel like the one time I went on a cruise, we didn't want to be like right on the port, because it was very chaotic and crazy. So I felt like every hour that we were off, we moved a little bit closer to where they were going to reboard.
Yeah.
So we were like, we're not exactly on the port, but we didn't want to miss it either because that's a nightmare.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
No.
That's why I'm not a huge fan of cruises, because you have to constantly worried about getting on that ship, where if you just went to your destination, you can take all the time you wanted.
I like a cruise. I've
never been on a cruise. If you gave me a cruise, I wouldn't go on it.
Yeah, Lisa, I'm starting to feel that way too.
I like
people and the chaos, I don't know if I can handle it.
I mean, I prefer
like a special kind of hell to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I could choose an all-inclusive resort, I would do that. But a cruise can be fun. They can be fun if you go with friends or whatever.
Small
the
rooms.
Funny thing about in these situations, these families are faced with such a quagmire to try to do anything about this because, choice of law. Like the ticket may say it may have a forum selection clause, but there's like an intersection collision between maritime law, the foreign law of the country where the incident happened, and then the Athens Convention that governs cruise ship type activities. And so it's a nightmare. So I don't know that they will actually have a lawsuit out of it, but they certainly are upset.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it's crazy. You just never know. Yeah, because like Lisa was saying, they're not going to look for other people that are, even the family say, hey, they're back there, unless they're like worried about their health maybe. I did read there's approximately 200 people die each year on cruise ships worldwide, but they said the chance of dying, and these are like heart attacks and stuff. I mean, there could be other accidents. There's small portion of accidents, but they said it could also be underreported. They're not exactly sure, but right now it's 1 out of 150,000 passengers die. So it's like less than 1 millionth of 1%.
Yeah.
I bet Katie knows this because she's a true crime fan like I am. Mm-hmm. It's a great place to kill somebody and get away with it.
True.
They have cameras now. I mean, I guess you could push them off.
You have more cameras than they used to, but you'd be surprised about blind spots and just kind of, and the fact that they don't retain any data. They don't keep crime scenes, cleared. In fact, they will, kind of like this, the way they leave the port, whether you're on the ship or not, if they leave the port and they go, oh, looks like there's been a murder here, they're like, maids, get in here, clean it up.
We got to stick to our schedule.
Yes,
Got to go.
We got to roll.
Yeah.
We got to roll.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I mean, there's whole, like I've gone down rabbit holes of whole shows about cruise ship murders and disappearances, and but you're right, a lot of the times it's either like a heart attack or stroke, or somebody's drunk and they fall overboard.
Right.
It does happen.
That could be a good way to promote cruise ships. Like
get so drunk.
you hate your spouse.
A great place to get away with murder.
Right.
You can't afford a divorce.
Join us on the seas.
We can throw.
But you can afford Carnival.
Yeah, $500 round trip. All right, Lisa, you're awesome.
Thank
we appreciate
Lisa.
you. Ever injured, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com.